And we are live on the streets of Washington where, as you can see, mountains of snow are pouring down on the nation's capital, creating blizzard-like conditions. Not blizzard-like conditions. The first blizzard since 2022 to hit Washington, D.C., according to the Weather Channel earlier today. I can't tell you, if you didn't see it yourself, how excited the Weather Channel is about the vast, voluminous snowstorm that is bearing down on the Northeast Corridor, New York, New England, Washington, D.C., and the like, literally as we speak, as you can see, inhospitable conditions. The snow totals have climbed in the projections all day today, as they tend to do in the lead up to things like this. And look at this. Look at this. They were saying New York could have 2+ feet of snow. Here in Washington, D.C., the projections were anywhere from, well, they started like 2 to 4 inches. Then they crept up to 3 to 5 inches, 5 to 8 inches. And then I was seeing the 12 to 24 inch projections for snowfall here in the nation's capital, which, as you can see, is living up to its billing. You can actually see, if we zoom in close, there is snow on the ground. Look at that. It's snow, and it is piling up here by the feet, by the yards, by the inches. A remarkable, miraculous, gigantic nor'easter that is pummeling this part of the country up and down the coast. Man, I have never seen the people on the Weather Channel as excited as they were earlier today. Fitting in a way. We wrapped up the Winter Olympics today. The U.S. hockey men defeated the Canadian men to win the gold medal. The Canadians were bitter. They claimed they were the better team in post-game interviews. The U.S. Guys just talked about how they were proud to be Americans. But here we are inheriting Canada's weather in turn. The Winter Olympics wrap up, and in turn, winter strikes back, letting us all know that it is not done, as the groundhog said. We are buried in more winter here. Look at the snowfall piling up all over the nation's capital here. We have, that's got to be, I mean, if I'm estimating that, that's got to be a good 10, 12 inches at the point. Man, it's probably a little windy tonight. It's actually very cold. I think what's happened in like the last hour or so is that temperatures, which looked like they were going to float above freezing for most of the night, have now suddenly dipped slightly below freezing. And so some of the snow that was before not sticking is now starting to stick ever so slightly. This is snow that is remnants from the last snowfall, which still has not completely melted because it actually has not been that warm in Washington. Except this week it actually got pretty warm, and there's like a fresh layer of snow on the very top of it. And so, well, it's saying 34 there on Nightbot. I checked the like actual live temperature right here before I came on, and it's actually 31 right here in downtown DC, which means it's actually a little slick in certain spots. I do apologize for the wind. One of the things that happened in the last day is, with the temperature dipping down, I had to switch coats. I wear different feather combinations depending on the weather, what kinds of protection I need here in Duckland. And so one of the things that I had done as it was starting to get warmer is I switched to a slightly warmer coat of feathers, or a slightly cold, I don't know, whatever you call it, like a slightly less intense coat of feathers for the last week or so. And then suddenly it's dipped back down, and I had to crank back out the big heavy coat of feathers. And so all of my socks are in. I had switched them. I had all switched all of my socks to the slightly lighter coat of feathers. And so here I am sockless, but at least I have a significant coat. So we're not going to probably be on that long because it is actually really cold again, weirdly. And that's unfortunate because it was I was starting to think maybe spring is around the corner, but no, spring is not coming ever. We are going to endure unending winter for as far as the eye can see, forever after. And probably the snow will continue to pile up here, micrometer by micrometer, until someday we do have the 8+ inches that they promised us. They're always lying when they say 8+ inches, though. That's what they do. Look at this. It actually is. Hey, shut the hell up! No one's here. It's actually getting a little icy. It's a little bit icy. Maybe DC will be lucky and only get ice. I don't actually know if that's the lucky. I mean, I don't know. I kind of like a nice soft snow is better than lots of ice, in my opinion. But I don't know. You guys tell me how it's going where you are. I am very serious about my concern for this massive snowstorm that is clearly inundating us right now. And I guess it tells you something when even the federal government is like, no, everything's still just going to be open like normal tomorrow with only a 2-hour delay. The federal government will close everything, like at the drop of a hat. They will close down everything if there's even the faintest hint of snow. And so when the weatherman today was saying it's going to be like 2 feet of snow, and then the Office of Personnel Management with the federal government was like, nah, we don't really believe it. That's a pretty remarkable thing. Okay, I can't read this, but it's somebody complaining to the mayor of DC about something about the homeless shelter at L'Enfant Plaza. I don't know. I can't read it. Too cold, too icy. I'm doing my best to protect the microphone here without any socks. So, if it's windy, don't blame me. You can blame me because I forgot the sock, but it's best I can do in the circumstances here, which is very cold. If I didn't mention that, it's very, very, very cold right now. By the way, guys, if you are stopping by here on Land Speculation and wouldn't mind dropping a like and a subscribe to the video, I do appreciate that. Those likes help us out with YouTube. The subscribes help you know when we're on. Check our description for the link to our Discord, our Duck Fund, and our sister channel, Land Ducks International, where videos keep getting posted, even though, I don't know, they just keep showing up somehow. So this, the art museum here, you would have probably had like a rainbow thing before Trump, but now that Trump is in charge of everything, he forces them to do this red, white, and blue thing, and I'm sure it pains them to have to do like patriotic colors as opposed to pride colors, but such is the deal now. But let me know how things are going in your neck of the woods. Obviously in DC, what we're getting is cold, a little bit of ice, and look at this, it's snow everywhere. 3 feet, 4 feet. By the time we wrap up this stream, it could be 6, 8, 10 feet of snow. I don't know. Land Ducks International is the sister channel. Yeah, there. Jeanette has posted the link in the chat. If you have not joined Land Ducks International, definitely worth a follow. It's I think it's worth a checkout if you have not checked it out before. A lot of our raw footage is going up there now because we've been posting more hot takes on this channel, which means I'm trying to keep this channel clear for thoughts, views, perspectives, conversations, and Land Ducks International is now where a lot of our backup collateral, the raw footage, tours, interesting sites from around the world, Hotel tours go up every 2 weeks on Land Ducks International. If you like the hotel tours, we are unloading the whole dump truck of hotel tours, little bit by little bit, onto Land Ducks International. So, awesome, Jerry Carter. Glad to have you over there. We're just getting started with that one. I got to get the shorts rolling to hopefully get us some subscribers over there. So you're in on the ground floor on that channel. Lonely night here, guys. I guess it's late. We keep streaming late. We got some earlier stuff going here in the forthcoming future. And we are walking in the direction of the U.S. Capitol, in part because I wanted to see a little bit of what's going on with the preparations for the State of the Union address, which is coming up on Tuesday, if Donald Trump is able to actually get to the Capitol building amid all of the several feet of snow that is currently inundating this city. But assuming he is able to find like a bobsled and make his way through this winter wonderland that is downtown Washington. We will have a State of the Union address on Tuesday, and that means presumably they're setting up all kinds of security barricades, although I guess we're going to find out here in about a block how extensive that security perimeter is, and whether it is as great as the security perimeter in past years. Man, if you listen to the mainstream media, Donald Trump has a hell of a task ahead of him on Tuesday to defend the apocalyptic economy and litany of foreign affairs disasters that the country is facing. And so we'll see. We'll see what Donald Trump comes up with. In the past, he's walked into those State of the Union addresses and just trumpeted how great everything is. And per the media, right now, things are not so great. And so we'll see. We'll see what he says and how he frames everything. Man, it's actually getting very slippery out here. I got to be careful or else I might die. If I do ever have some kind of cataclysmic, catastrophic injury while we are streaming, you guys are kind of my eyes and ears here. So I do appreciate it. If something ever really, really, really bad happened, could somebody maybe do something? We're doing okay right now, though. It's just very slick. And so hopefully we won't die. Yes, thank you, Matt Davis. I mean, I'm not going to stay warm. There's no way to do that right now. It is cold, and so we'll be cold. And if we stayed out for too long, eventually we would freeze to death. So we won't stay out that long. The mods have a plan. Okay, well that's good unless somehow something simultaneously, incidentally happens to all the mods. That would be one hell of a national catastrophe. From coast to coast, the whole country gets nuked. They're setting up for the UFO announcement. That'll be a big thing. If he makes the whole State of the Union address about all the UFO secrets, that would be a very Trumpian move. I'm always I don't love everything that Donald Trump does. But one thing is he is always good for a bit of entertainment. And so, sometimes there's presidents where it's the State of the Union, snooze fest, yawn city. Coming up with the cornball phrases here. But Trump left something up his sleeve here. That's what's always exciting about him, is he's always got something that'll kind of surprise folks and put people on their heels and force the Democrats to react in some way and inflame something. I assume the Democrats will all come dressed in white. I guess the This other thing is like the suffragettes thing, dressed in white. Nancy Pelosi be ripping up the playbill. Man. Well, okay, so we do have a little bit of a perimeter getting set up here. Is that all snow over there? Holy crap. Okay, let's go. I need to go find out what's going on here. This looks like just a giant mountain of snow. I don't know what this blaring thing behind us is. Hopefully we won't get trapped in the perimeter here. They're starting to get these barricades set up on the outside with just these little openings where we can still go sort of see some things. But look at this giant pile of snow over here. I mean, this is crazy stuff. I haven't been down here since the last giant snowstorm. But look at that. It's like huge piles of it. Those piles are, it's got to be 20 feet high. 30 feet, maybe? I don't know. It's certainly enormous. There's a lot more snow over here than there is in the city, which is a little weird. And I don't think that's all just stuff that's like come down in the last few minutes. I do think the fact that it's dipped below freezing in the last few minutes has caused more snow to stick. But it just feels like there's a lot more snow in general over here. And I guess they must have just like plowed everything into giant piles. Capitol building right in front of us. Capitol building is made of snow, by the way. Man, I don't see a lot of ducks around. Sometimes the ducks stick it out through the winter. DC's had a couple of rough winters in a row here. Usually it's pretty mild throughout the winter in Washington. And this time around it's been pretty cold, like much colder than usual. And I feel like a lot of the country's had that. They said that Lake Erie has frozen fully solid for the first time in decades, which means we must have effectively reversed global warming. So good job. Al Gore, mission accomplished. Global warming has been fully reversed and defeated, which means we can go back to driving big SUVs again. Man, this is disgusting. This is like a giant pile of old snow. This is enormous, like right in front of the Capitol. I didn't know this was here. But it's huge. Oh God, the slush. The slush. Goodness gracious, the slush. There's so much of it. It's so deep. I can't. If it goes any deeper, this is going to become very uncomfortable. It doesn't look that deep, but man, it's really getting in there. Giant DC snow mountain. And again, there's the Capitol here as we prep for the State of the Union here in 2 days. We're in the middle of the night. Not many people here at the Capitol. Wow. This snow situation here. Like 8 feet of snow in front of us. Wild Bill, how's it going? Thanks for stopping by here in the middle of the night as DC is being buried. As you can see, the snow is becoming prohibitive. I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to walk out of this giant, enormous pile of snow. 22 feet of snow so far in New York City. Oh, 22 inches of snow. Yeah, well, we have like about 10 feet of snow here in Washington, D.C. As you can see, This nor'easter has just pummeled Washington with snow that is well over the height of my head, and it is so dire here. We are literally steps from the U.S. Capitol that we are buried in a way that I don't know if we're going to be able to survive it. This is something unlike I've ever seen in Washington, and frankly, it was probably irresponsible for me to come out and stream amid this enormous buildup of huge mountains of snow, which again are just burying the nation's capital in snow, threatening potentially the ability for the State of the Union address to go off this coming Tuesday. OPM announced we're going to have these giant 10-12 foot mountains of snow in order to get to work. It is really something, really quite remarkable here, this enormous snow mountain in Washington, D.C. Weirdly, it's very concentrated because it's only like in this one spot. Everywhere else, there's like hardly anything. It's kind of fun. Oh man, that wind is gonna do something with the audio here, isn't it? Man, I would not want to be a duck today trying to swim my way through this water. It is below freezing in the nation's capital right now, and there is the snow piling up. Does New York City really have 22 inches of snow right now? Like, I came on this stream to essentially mock the idea that the weatherman was saying there was going to be a lot of snow in Washington. Believe it or not, this stream was not intended to be entirely serious, given that there is almost nothing on the ground in D.C. except for these enormous piles, which are residual from the last snowstorm, like overlooking the giant snowstorm that poured. They said it was 5 inches. That looks like a lot more than 5 inches to me. But I guess when you pile up a lot more than 5 inches, you pile it up like over and over and over again, and you can make like many feet out of that. And since it stayed below freezing for weeks on end, I guess they were able to just plow giant piles together. I just didn't realize this was even here because I haven't been down here in a while. Because it's been cold. It's been cold as all get out. I knew someone that used the phrase as cold as who tied the pup, which I never understood as a phrasing. That doesn't make any sense at all. As blank as who tied the pup. The hell does that mean? But here in front of the U.S. Capitol, where the wind is blowing strong. Oh crap. Oh God, someone's following me. Oh no. Okay, it's getting like slushy now. Land should make use of himself shoveling snow for elderly people. What about the young, able-bodied people that just don't want to shovel snow? What about like starting a second-hand snow shoveling business where I collect money from kids, like they go door to door, people give them money to shovel the snow, and then I collect the money from the kids and shovel the snow in their stead. Yeah, I hadn't like worked out the whole business thing here. I don't know if it's like a profit sharing scheme or, I mean, once we have the money, like nobody really has to do it. Like you already have the money. yes, it's weirdly very spotty snow. Giant 10-foot piles over there, and then there's like nothing here. But it is still slick, so I got to be a little careful. Most don't pay until the job is done. Why would I do the job if you haven't paid me yet? Like, how do I know that you're going to pay me? Because once the job's done, you have no incentive to pay me. It's like if I go out to eat and I order a whole bunch of food and they bring me a whole bunch of food and then they bring me a bill. It's like, well, I already ate the food. Like, why would I pay you now? But I guess there are sort of latent agreements associated with living in voluntary transactional economy, free market. Man, that wind is something. I wonder if we get out of the wide open expanses of Pennsylvania Avenue, if that would help. Perhaps. We'll try that. I'm attempting to put on a glove, but it's so cold that my fingers are so frozen that I can't even maneuver enough to get the glove on. That's not good. All right, we mostly made one of them work. Oh man, that feels a lot better. I see why they make these things now. You do feel warmer when you wear a glove. All right, we're going to attempt, I think, to cross the street here. The Canadian embassy over there is in grave mourning, of course, because of the death of their beloved hockey team, the metaphorical death. They did not all die. They just lost in competition today in the Olympic gold medal game. They were defeated by the Americans, of all people, who beat them in overtime despite being outshot pretty extensively over the course of the game. Kind of felt like the 1980 Miracle on Ice game. I felt like for a long stretch of that game, the Canadians were dominating, but the U.S. had such a good goalie that Canada couldn't manage to score but more than once. And so in overtime, the U.S. snuck up on them and popped in a second goal. And that was that. The U.S. proved it is the superior country. And now Canada has to be very sad. And will be publicly admitting its foreign superiority in front of a national CBC audience of 7 coming up this week. Mrs. Land will fuss me for not wearing socks. Yeah, guys, I apologize for not wearing a sock today. It was an oversight. It had to do with the switcheroo in the feather situation due to the rapid change in temperature. Again, there is the Capitol Dome. State of the Union coming up here in 2 days. This will be the route that Donald Trump takes to the State of the Union address. His motorcade, assuming it doesn't get inundated with several more feet of snow, seems like it might be okay. Although I don't know, it's kind of spotty. The city seems to be doing better than in front of the Capitol, which seems to have more snow. The women's hockey team also won gold. Yeah, I saw that. It's kind of a shitty thing that, like, in the Olympics, you put all this energy, all these people have to play this whole giant tournament on both sides. The U.S. wins gold in hockey for both the men and the women. This whole, like, ecosystem infrastructure of parts and people and games. You get 2 medals out of that. Norway won 40 medals in these Olympic Games. 25 of those medals that Norway won came in 2 events. Norway won 14 medals in cross-country skiing. Why are we even awarding 14 medals in cross-country skiing? Doesn't this seem a little bit skewed? Like, a lot more people in the world play hockey than play cross-country skiing. And yet we're awarding, like, astronomical numbers of medals for minutely different distances in cross-country skiing, but only 2 medals get awarded in hockey. I mean, I guess 6, because there's a gold, silver, and a bronze, but still, like, this seems all out of whack. And, like, no wonder Norway, this tiny country, is winning so many damn medals in the Olympics. I think it's time we, I don't know, like, Norway needs to be ostracized by the international community for this ridiculous performative thing they do in the Winter Olympics, which is somehow they have managed to, like, politically finagle the Winter Olympics into being comprised almost entirely of events that people only do in Norway. Then they win all those events, rack up astronomical medal totals, and the other things that actually happen in the Olympics have almost no medals. And then all the other things that people actually do around the world in the winter, like basketball and swimming and the like, and volleyball, like, those aren't part of the Winter Olympics. So the Winter Olympics is a weird thing to me. And I think Norway has, it's time we put a stop to Norway. Their shenanigans have disrupted the geopolitical ecosystem to a point that I cannot sit by and tolerate Norway's nonsense anymore. This country has gone too far. They are insufferable troublemakers, and it's time we put an end to this. Like, somebody's got to step in and do something. These Norwegians are just out of control. The attention on curling, oh my goodness. At first I was like, that must get hella ratings. Why were they showing so much damn curling? I guess it's happening all the time. It did seem like there's a hell of a lot of curling. Way too many games of curling. I don't know, like, what's with the mixed curling? Like, we have men's, we have women's, we have men's and women's, we have... Why do we need a 1-person, 2-person, and 4-person bobsled? I mean, I'm super pro bobsled. I think it's, like, one of the very best things we do in the Winter Olympics. But is it really necessary we segregate this into 1-person, 2-person, and 4-person? There we also have singles, doubles, or we have men's, women's, and mixed. These seem like a lot of fairly narrow differentiators between things. We should just pick how many people go on a bobsled and just have it be that. Lance Shadow, he needs a haircut, says Jerry Carter. Could that be because I'm wearing a hat? I'm wearing a sombrero right now. I did that because of the snow. It's a cultural thing. Seems like Nightbot is confused. Is normal? Makes me feel right at home. Piles of snow. various, like, this is a very confusing snowstorm. I cannot tell if it's snowing, raining, not snowing or raining, if there's ice, if there's not ice, if it's above freezing, it's below freezing. Who the hell knows? This is all extremely confusing right now. Quiet Castle, how's it going? Thanks for stopping by here at Land Speculation on YouTube. As you can see, DC is being inundated by a blizzard of historic proportions. We are buried in about a dozen feet of snow right now. We were earlier in the stream buried in about 12 feet of snow. Amazingly, it seems very spotty where it's occurring. I don't really have a problem with Lindsey Vonn or other people that want to participate in the Olympics in their 40s and 50s. There was a curler that was curling at 54 in these Olympics who did just fine. I just think, like, if you're going to take up a spot when you're in your 40s or your 50s, you better as hell win. Like, don't insist on taking the spot of some, like, teenager and then, like, just not win. Like, you have to win. If you're going to go to the Olympics, you have to win. That's the rule. If you're going to go to the Olympics, you have to win the gold medal. I realize it doesn't really comport, but, like, I have high standards for my Olympians. It is kind of amazing how young a lot of these people are. Like, there's a lot of events. There's like 17-year-olds. That figure skater that won gold. That was an amazing story, by the way. That figure skater that won gold, the women's gold medal winner for the U.S. First U.S. medal in women's figure skating since Sasha Cohen back in 2006. Oh man, Sasha Cohen. She was one of my favorite Olympians ever. Really, really, really graceful, amazing figure skater. Like, just what a talent she was. But she had this penchant for falling on her ass, and she seemed to do it every time in a big moment. And she did during the long program in 2006. She fell as she was skating, and thus she won the silver medal, not the gold medal. And that was the last figure skating medal the U.S. women had won. The U.S. fell off in a big, big, big way until this year, when surging up from third place at the end of the short program, this American came back and won gold in women's figure skating. And it was an amazing performance. She did kind of an easy routine, but did a really, really nice job with it. And it was magical. It was beautiful. It was breathtaking. The two figure skaters who were ahead of her after the short program, both Japanese, both kind of screwed up a couple of jumps during the long program and fell back in the standings. The one who had been in first after the short program was only 17 years old. But the American who won at age 20, which is pretty darn young when you think about it. Like, the whole eyes of the country on her at 20. Like, imagine think about where you were at 20. But she also had figure skated back in the last Olympics in Beijing at age 16. At age 16, she skated in the Olympics, which is, wow, like, what a thing. Like, think what a nervous mess we all were at age 16. She was, like, skating in the Olympics. And the thing is, there's been all this press coverage of this this American slope style snowboarder. Eileen Gu, the media is all like just fawning over this Eileen Gu, who's an American who lived a very, very, very coddled lifestyle, seemingly in California, and then I guess was sort of intercepted by the Chinese. Chinese paid her a whole bunch of money, allegedly, and she chased the green, and thus is performing in the Olympics for the Chinese. And this apparently is some heroic act of anti-Americanism, per the American media. And so they are just fawning with affection over Eileen Gu, who gives interviews. It sounds like an absolute psychopath, if you ask me. I mean, like, what a unlikable person, my goodness. And what a sort of like kind of dangerous seeming thing that like the Chinese seem to be aggressively coming after American young talents and courting them to join the Chinese team with promises of money. It seems that a lot of the Chinese folks on social media don't seem to like her very much either, because like they're mad that like the highest paid Chinese athlete is actually an American. And like, what about all the actual Chinese athletes that deserve that money from their government? Anyway, the sort of caveat to that story is that apparently this figure skater that won gold on behalf of the American squad, who won here at age 20 and participated in the Beijing Olympics at age 16 4 years ago, and has her own journey of like self-reflection and whatnot. She also is a Chinese American. Her dad had fled China in the aftermath of Tiananmen Square because he wanted to get the hell out of whatever the government was doing there in China. And so she came here, or he came here, raised this very talented young figure skater, and I guess when she started to get extremely talented, the Chinese noticed her too and started courting her also, as they had with Eileen Gu, with gobs and gobs of money, like promises of millions of dollars if she defected, and despite being an American citizen, would skate for the Chinese. And her dad said, fuck no. Like, I fled China for a reason. Like hell, my daughter is going to skate for you. And so when she went at age 16 to skate in the Olympics in Beijing 4 years ago, she had to go with numerous bodyguards because she and her family were terrified that the Chinese were going to abduct her and try to essentially kidnap her onto their Olympic team while she was in China. So they had to pay basically out of pocket for an extensive security force to travel with her the entire time she was in China, which is like an amazing thing. And she didn't defect. She didn't pull an Eileen Gu, and she has now won gold on behalf of the United States of America. What a story. The part, and like all of this is part of, like, NBC was filled the whole week with all these fluff pieces, these like just insufferable fluff pieces about the Olympics. Told the story of this American who won gold, but they didn't mention any of the China stuff. They didn't mention any of the stuff about her dad defecting to the U.S. after Tiananmen Square. They didn't mention the fact that the Chinese had hounded her and offered her money. They didn't mention the fact she had to travel with bodyguards. They didn't mention the fact that allegedly the pressure of worrying about being kidnapped by the Chinese is part of what caused her to leave skating after the last Olympics, only to rediscover it 2 years ago. And all the pressure and stress and whatnot that put on her. NBC didn't mention squat about any of that because they're so damn in the tank or something. I don't know what the hell is going on with our media. If it's just like they're afraid of offending the Chinese, or they're in the tank, or they're just like so institutionally intent on like trying to make America look bad in some way, and so gutturally opposed to the idea of making America seem like some kind of heroic good guy force that's like so taboo and uncool to make America seem even decent, in contrast to our geopolitical adversaries, that they just wouldn't say it. But if you compare and contrast that to the stories of Eileen Gu, which are all over the internet, every single one of them just fawns about how great it is. Our media fawning incessantly about how great it is that she defected to the Chinese and is therefore collecting endorsement deals from American companies, which, by the way, shame on them, while also collecting a massive paycheck from the Chinese to the extent that she's earning $23+ million a year to do slope-style downhill snowboarding for the Chinese Olympic team, despite not being a Chinese citizen, while living in America, having been a graduate of Stanford in the U.S. It's just fawning coverage of her, which is just a crazy thing. Like, you can't help but like that sort of phrasing of like the media is the enemy of the people. Like, it's so disturbing. And if you were to ask them why, they would just deny they're doing it. Which is the sentiment that Quiet's echoing here in the chat. Yeah, Eileen Gu, I mean, she needs to work on her interview skills. I mean, man, the interviews she gave, goodness gracious, like that. I mean, it reminded me, I don't know if you guys know the reference, but Kitchen Nightmares, the most famous episode of Kitchen Nightmares ever, with Amy's Baking Company. It was the one that like Gordon Ramsay just like left in the middle of the filming because the people at the restaurant just seemed like such insufferable psychopaths that he couldn't relate to them on any single thing because they had such an incredibly inflated opinion of themselves and were completely unrelatable on anything. There was a bit of a flavor of that in Eileen Gu. Hearing her just belittle and berate that one journalist who asked her a very reasonable question about her medals. Man, I mean, what a profoundly unlikable person, at least in the clips that I have seen. But, you know, in another week or two, it'll all be forgotten. We do this thing with the Olympics where, like, when the Olympics happen, the reporting is always sort of, like, implies that we all know who all these people are. And these are, like, famous, everyday household names, like the Quad God, Ilya Malinin. Had anybody ever heard of these people before these Olympics? Like, is there some, like, secret... Is everybody secretly following men's figure skating the whole rest of the time, and I'm just not doing that, and therefore I don't know all the men's figure skaters and slope-style downhill snowboarders and whatnot? Like, these people get their 2 weeks in the sun here at the Olympics, and I wish the Olympics happened all the time. It's kind of fun. It's very exciting. I wish it went on forever, but now it's being dismantled, and as soon as it came, it has gone, and everyone will just forget about it for the next 4 years until some of these people come back and some don't, and we won't remember their names. 2 years we'll have the Summer Olympics, I guess. This summer we'll have the World Cup. You know, we're hosting the World Cup in the United States this year. Like, seems like that's being underreported a little bit. I'm sure that'll rise up in a big way in the next few months. Man, it is slick out here. One foot of snow in Stamford, Connecticut. Well, as you can see, the snow is piling up here in DC. I don't know how many feet this is, but it's It's a lot. It's hard to get an exact count on the number of feet of snow here. The Weather Channel told us it would be several, so I don't know. Can you guys get an angle on it? Good angle on how many feet of snow we're looking at here? It's hard to put into words. Inches, feet, yards, miles, leagues. Bill says, phew, I thought it was just me that didn't know any of these stars. Yeah, well, now you know. Now you know who the quad god is. "10 inches front yard, 12 back by train track side," says Tess. Is the train just like plowing through? I see a train plow through a foot of snow. Thanks for those ducks, Tess. They're probably cold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 16, 6, 22 ducks. That's a lot of ducks. MMA matches at the White House this summer. Yeah, I guess that'll have an audience or something. I think Trump sometimes overestimates the number of, like, middle America wrestling fans that will travel to D.C. for that kind of stuff. But, yeah, have fun with it. America does not give a flying fuck about soccer. More than it did. I mean, it's one of those things where there's a lot of young people who are like, as long as it's not some old legacy thing, they'll get into it. So a lot of young people are sort of pretending to really be into soccer these days. The MLS is doing actually pretty well. It's sort of an underreported thing that average MLS attendance is rivaling average baseball attendance. Now, granted, with shorter seasons, but soccer is becoming a thing in the U.S. Now, it's like a very slow build. You know, when we hosted the World Cup in 1994, everyone thought that, like, imminently soccer would take over everything, and it didn't. But it is building. Well, this car has a little bit of actual snow on it. It's a little deceptive because we have this legacy snow from the last snowstorm that has a dusting of new snow on it, and so it looks like the Rocky Mountains. The Nightbot temperature in DC, I think, is a little inflated. I actually do think it's about 31 degrees downtown right now, or at least it was when we came out, which is why it's just a little, ever so slightly icy out here as we walk around. But it was supposed to hover above freezing, and I think it has dipped just slightly below it, which is why you actually have just a very, very faint amount of ice and sticking snow here now. Yeah, guys, appreciate the likes and the subscribes on the video and all that kind of stuff. The likes help us out with YouTube. The subscribes help you guys know when we're on. Check our description for the link to our Discord, the link to our Duck Fund, and the link to our sister channel, Land Ducks International, where you can see our live raw footage and hotel tours and other stuff that we don't post on our main channel here. You know, please support that channel as it kind of gets off the ground here very slowly. Appreciate that. MLS attendance was down slightly from 2024. That's a pretty big MLS. See, I see Jeanette has the cold fingers too, being out in the snow with us. But yes, we should pick a winner here. Tess! Congratulations, Tess. Excellent job. Do you guys know this whole wall of buildings is fake? These are all completely fake buildings. Yes, have yourself a chicken dinner. Ah, it's like a drinking fountain for the rats. Do you guys say drinking fountain or water fountain or bubbler? What do you guys say in your part of your neck of the woods? I believe I'm a drinking fountain person, but I can't remember what that says about me, geographically and culturally. It's that Tess. It's that they're literally fake buildings. This is something that happens in D.C. It happens in New York too. In New York, it happens a lot because they're obscuring infrastructure related to the subway system. But this whole wall of buildings is fake. This is a legitimate apartment building, and it has units that face outward and face inward, and it has a big courtyard inside. And then that building down there is actually a public school. Believe it or not, you can go to school here, like in the middle of downtown DC, that is a public school. I believe it is K to 12, like it's a full school. And so in between, there's like a courtyard for this apartment building, and then there's like outdoor space for the school. And so in between, there's basically like nothing here, but the city of Washington does not like to have like blank walls. So one of the things you may have not noticed, but may notice now that I've said it, is that in downtown DC, there are very few surface parking lots. In fact, almost none. And to the extent there are any, the city wants to get rid of them. There's almost no surface parking lots. Basically, everywhere you go, there's like full buildings, wall to wall across the entire block, which is extremely unusual in American cities. Most cities have a lot of parking lots in their downtown. DC, everything is underground parking. Why does the city want that? I guess they just want it to feel more like a city everywhere and not have these like big open expanses of space. But everything basically between that building, the tall part of that building, and the tall part of that building is fake here. And so while these look like buildings, if you look closely, what you'll see is that there are no actual windows on the upper floors here. Those are just like painted on facsimiles of windows. That entire front facade of that building is probably no more than about a foot deep. And so these doors probably open to basically nothing. This is just like a random air vent around these doors. Obviously that's not like a real lobby space for that building. This is an air vent. This is an air vent. This is an air vent. Those are air vents. That's probably just some kind of like HVAC infrastructure or something. I'm curious if this actually shows us what's going on in there. Hard to see. But these are all just fake walls. And as you can see, again, the windows are all fake. Fake windows, fake windows, fake windows. Here's just another like garage door entrance thing with fake windows above. More fake windows. This wall looks like it's made out of like plywood. These are just like drawn onto it. These aren't even like embedded fake windows. Those are all like air vent things up there. And then this door just warns you about hazardous voltage that will shock, burn, and cause you death. That sounds awfully terrifying. Look at this. If you open this door, your hand is going to get sawed in half, and you will cease to be a person anymore. Pepco, Exelon, that is the utility provider here in Washington, which means probably the most immediate thing on the other side of this wall is a whole bunch of utility infrastructure. So it's all fake. It's all fake walls. Fake facades. And then right here you have the school. This is like a legit building, legit school. So several building fronts here that are fake, just totally fake. And if you look closely, you'll see that in a lot of big cities. DC and New York, though, especially. Secrets of the underground. You could probably just poke it with your thumb and tip it over. Yes, it would be prime real estate, but sometimes the utilities don't permit that. Sometimes they need to put like a big substation in, and then like this building wouldn't want that because they have like apartments that face out into this open central space. So if you build a building immediately adjacent to that, they would probably fight that pretty hard from a zoning perspective, I would guess. Anyway, the oddities of life in the big city. All right, well, as you can see, the snow has continued to pile up here. Several more feet have fallen since we have started streaming. Actually, over here, there is like a little dusting of snow on the ground, so maybe there will be something in the morning. Maybe the weatherman will be right. They promised us 8, 10, 12 inches, and man, so it wasn't. It was so much less than that, and we are all disappointed by it. AT&T had a 29-story building with no windows in New York City. Yeah, that kind of stuff. Always lived in DC. No. So, yeah, New York City got the big one, the 2-footer. DC struggling without. Anyway, guys, I'm going to probably curtail us here because it is very cold and it is a little bit icy. And so I'm not going to stay out any longer. I do appreciate you hanging out with us and finding us if you did here late, and if you're watching us after the fact, I hope the future is treating you well. Thanks to our mods for hanging out with us. Jeanette Quiet, as always, late at night here. The rats are happy somewhere down there, drinking up all this melting rainwater. The rainwater was already wet, doesn't have to melt. And for the rest of you, hope you survive the giant nor'easter snowstorm blizzard thing, and hope the Weather Channel people get their dose of excitability well justified. We'll get to that and talk about other things. So don't forget to like, subscribe, join our Discord, contribute to our Duck Fund, and support our sister channel, Lame Ducks International, and this channel, if you wouldn't mind. We fixed a glitch, so if you felt like your comments weren't showing up on previous videos, now they will. If people felt like their comments weren't showing up, now your comments will show up on our videos, and we're going to try to go back and retroactively reply to things that weren't showing up in the past. So I appreciate everyone's efforts to keep commenting on our videos. Those do help us with the algorithm, very much so. Okay, guys, appreciate it. Don't be strangers. We'll be back. This is Land. That ain't just speculation. For now, I hope you all have a good night.